very excited to have you here tonight. We have some great news on many fronts on Bitshares and Cloudcoin. So we have. I want to remind everybody the purpose of this particular webinar to provide you news, particularly what I call trend news that's happening over really or 30-day or 90-day trend to give you kind of what's happening. And that's as this whole crypto world is changing so fast and so furiously that stay on top of things. And the second part of the second type to go over now is involving more and more developments that are happening Cloudcoin with Bitshares and with Rada. So we have really have four kind of specific news to us on all these, and we have general trend news. And the other purpose, of course, being here is so I can check technology advancements because they are furious as well. So that's the principal reason why we're here. I do want to make so I can see to click it, turn it on and off, so I can see if you can hear me. Do I see any hands clicking? Oh, there's one. Let's see if I can just upper right hand hands, just click that on and off. I want to make sure you can hear me. Okay. Here, just want to make sure. Click the little hand on the upper right hand side over and over. See that you hear me. Okay. Most of you can hear me. Good. Okay, good. All right. Out of the chute from Cloudcoin Consortium, giving us additional updates on what's happening with BitShares. Now, just as a reminder, BitShares is a very large exchange that's trading many different types of not only cryptocurrencies but other types of assets, even gold. So BitShares right now has been in development with Cloudcoin on a number of things. I cannot talk about some of them because I just can't. But we can talk about is the most recent developments that's happened now with Cloudcoin. Just as a reminder, Cloud BitShares is a website depository that is allowing Cloudcoin users to exchange Cloudcoin for tokens that can be traded on the BitShares ecosystem, and that will be online very soon. Cloudcoin's lead scientist Sean Worthington announced this week. Basically, what's happened is they have now been able to convert the Cloudcoins on an automated fashion. Okay, because the process of the Cloudcoin conversions is as follows. Basically, what you're able to do is first you set up your BitShares account, which involves downloading the BitShares wallet. Then once that's done, you upload your cloud coins to the new depository. Once the cloud coins are verified, the user will receive BitShares cloud coin tokens in their BitShares wallet. So you're going to take your cloud coins, you're going to deposit them into your BitShares wallet. Then they will be converted to the BitShares cloud coin tokens. And then those tokens can be exchanged for a wide variety of assets within the BitShares ecosystem, which includes, by the way, uh, uh, Bitcoin and all the kind of the major currencies you're all familiar with. So That's really, really, really important. So that we now have the automated system working. So it's automated, so you can go in there and do that. And I now know what they're working on is just making sure that the interface that you use is easy to understand. Because the last thing they want to do is have a interface that is hard to understand, creating tons of customer service issues. So I believe that's exactly where we're at. So we're very, very, very close, which is very, very good. And just as a reminder, uh, Bitshares' sister company called EOS, they also are, let's just say, discussing some fairly interesting things. I'm probably saying this too lightly, but are working on or developing some very interesting things with Cloudcoin. And if you don't know, the combination of Bitshares and EOS represent almost 90% of all blockchain transactions worldwide. So between those two outlets, you have a tremendous amount of trading juice. Is it money that is flowing into this whole cryptocurrency world continues to skyrocket. Um, Pantera Capital, which I've talked about before, is now opened up their third crypto venture fund. And the crypto venture fund, that's money that's being invested into cryptocurrency companies, crypto technology companies. So this is just one group, and have now opened their third fund with a target of hitting $175 million. So these funds are really, really, bulking up. And as you can only imagine, as more money pours into this whole crypto world, it just further solidifies that the crypto world is here to stay. And I'm always getting excited when the monies are hitting billion-dollar levels, because once investors have sunk that much money into something, you've probably heard is too big to fail. They're talking about that with the big banks. Well, I think we're very, very close to this whole business of cryptocurrencies, digital currencies, is now we're probably past the too big to fail. So even the governments don't want to screw with this industry. And if you take a look at the trend lines and the decisions being made from one country to the next, it's, I would say, a vast majority of the adjustments, changes, developments in kind of the government, the government's view of cryptocurrencies is improving. So that's all very good. So Pantera Capital now into their third crypto venture, which is now it's targeted to 100. I see no reason why they're not going to be able to get that full investment in place. Now, many of you have gone to flea markets, or if you've gone to any kind of thing where where there are small vendors, small companies that have the Square Cash app. I'm sure you've all probably used Square before. Maybe you go to the Renaissance festivals and you buy products, and they have the little thing right there. You zip your credit card across. Square is a huge company, and they obviously have a very, very large footprint, but they've now expanded their Bitcoin trading app to all 50 states. So once again, what happens when you have this much essentially distribution of a cryptocurrency, in this case it's Bitcoin, when you do that, you're making more and more people aware of the cryptocurrency field. Okay? So that's really important to understand. The more people that are aware of what's going on in the cryptocurrency space itself, the more money flies in. So and once again, we're still not even at a point where we're even hitting the quote unquote early adopter percentage. We're still underneath 1%. Now it is climbing, and I think we're gonna pop by 1% of the population, worldwide population, getting involved or having some involvement with cryptocurrency. I think it's going to happen very soon. But still, if you take a look at what is considered an early adopter, well, it's up to 2.5% of the population. Okay, so right now, 2.5% of the population worldwide is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 175 million people. Okay, so most of the people on this briefing right now have been involved in the crypto space since there was less than even a half of 1%. So you guys are the ultra early adopters. Okay. So with Square now offering the ability for people to use their Bitcoin to trade on their Cash App, that's a huge deal. More and more people are going to become aware of Bitcoin. They're going to become aware of the other currencies, and ultimately, you're going to see more awareness in the overall digital space or the digital currency space, because it's not just blockchain. Blockchain itself, your kind of pure blockchain, is like Bitcoin Cash. And once again, if you recall, we've been talking about the blockchain technology itself. There are pluses in that it does allow for online transactions, online transfer of wealth. It, it they the blockchain algorithm itself is pretty doggone strong, considering the amount of trading that's happening worldwide each day. The amount of theft of cryptocurrency blockchain units or coins is really infinitesimal. So people have not figured out how to crack it. Let's put it that way. There's some small examples of people being able to crack into wallets and take coins, but of course the not such a good thing regarding blockchain, particularly Bitcoin, is the mammoth amount of energy it consumes, and it's just going up. Because remember, with blockchain, every single transaction that's ever done, every one is added to the chain for verification purposes. And the bigger that sucker gets, the more horsepower it takes to actually run transactions. It's not just the mining of the blockchain Bitcoin. It's not just, in essence, creating new coins every 10 minutes or so. Okay, it's the transactions. Okay, many more transactions are occurring. So when you have a transaction, you have to have a significant number of miners, in essence, sign off on the authenticity of the transaction. And it's kind of going back and forth. It's still very slow to get Bitcoin transactions done because of the cost of the energy, because of the slowness of the transaction speed. It costs, higher transaction fees themselves. So you're still into the dollars and dollars and dollars for any transaction, which makes it hard to justify buying a cup of coffee. So with Square, essentially it's another promotional outlet or distribution outlet. So you understand that. Now, last week I brought Worthington on to start talking with the RADA technology. Now, is the underlying technology that validates transactions related to Cloudcoin. And unlike blockchain, which basically you validate the nature of the Bitcoin through verification of the transactions that have happened, with Cloudcoin, you don't have to do that. It's designed to stop counterfeiting. And it's done through a very, very unique model called RADA, which stands for Redundant Array of Independent Detection Agents. To think about it this way, you have to think of it when you are buying cloud coins, you effectively have 25 different arrays acting as passport officers or border agents. And as that cloud coin moves across from one person to the next, it's got to be authenticated by this array of independent detection agents. The beauty here is that it doesn't require a mammoth amount of code on each coin. So the coin can race across online in the tenths of, fractions of a second to be validated. So that's the beauty of how the RADA system works. It's all about detecting and preventing counterfeit digital transactions. Now, there are many, many uses for that. Obviously, it's the underlying technology for Cloudcoin. It's also the underlying technology for the soon to be launched Celebrium, which is involving the buying and selling of celebrity memorabilia, which memorabilia is protected by the RADA technology. And in fact, the new RADA company, which has now been formed, and if you want to learn more about that company, you have to email me at bob@digitalcurrencygrowth.com. That's bob@digitalcurrencygrowth.com, and put on the subject line RADA, or actually NUCO. We're going to say, forget that, RADA or NUCO. Either one's fine. NUCO is easier for new company, easier for me to read. I am going to be supplying some very special information on this probably by late next week. So RADA is the NUCO, or the new company, and it's the taking of this technology and deploying it. And there are many different ways to deploy the technology. You have, for instance, Cloudcoin. You have, for instance, Celebrium, and Celebrium will have an agreement in place with the new RADA company. And for every transaction that occurs related to the initial purchase of the Celebrium, RADA receives royalties. And that's, in fact, how RADA, the NUCO, will make money. It will receive royalties, or it will receive licensing fees, or it will receive transaction fees, or it will receive what's called software as a service. And that's probably one of the biggest areas of growth online anyway, which is called software as a service. Rather than somebody having to go out and buy software for a major company costing hundreds of millions of dollars, instead, the company signs up with a software provider and pays subscription fees on a monthly basis. Far less cost initially, but over time, it can make that company a lot of money if they have a lot of subscribers. So with the RADA, the NUCO, we will be offering software as a service, because there are many small companies and even medium-sized companies that would like to use this anti-counterfeiting technology on any type of digital transaction. Here are some examples. If you're familiar with the bartering, has been going on for decades. The bartering world is really growing fast now. And simply put, these barter networks use barter dollars. Well, folks, I hate to say it, but there can be instances when barter dollars are counterfeited. So all these major uh, barter networks that are employing barter dollars will be a prime target for the deployment of the RADA system. So that's one example. And that could be on a transactional basis. That could be on a license basis. That can be on that software as a service, the software as a service, that SaaS basis, called SaaS. So that's just one example. Here's another example. You have right now 2 billion people worldwide who do not have a bank account or access to a financial institution via mobile phone or any other device. 2 billion people. It's the unbanked world. It's roughly, it's probably about almost 30%, 33%. Okay, and here's an example of some of the big countries. Just these countries you're looking at here now in the green represent hundreds and hundreds of millions of people. These countries alone have less than 15% of their population with a bank account. Just these countries. Look at these. Look at all these countries. They have less than 15% of their population with a bank account. I mean, you have one country there that has like 120 million people, and that's Pakistan. And then you have, of course, many that, and that, I'm not even going to show you the chart that has, countries that have only 30% of their population with a bank account. But you're talking about 2 billion people. Now, this is an ideal place for digital currencies. Just launched, and they've launched in South Africa, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. They just launched. Okay? Their focus is providing digital currency so that people can make micropayments and other types of payments. So something on the order of 200,000 wallets were downloaded in the first couple months. 200,000 wallets. Now, what are these people doing getting their dollar cryptocurrency? Well, they're paying for things like their phone bill on their mobile phone. So there are mobile phone providers now that are accepting cryptocurrency as a payment method. They are also paying for their utility bills. They're paying for water bills, electric bills. So this is already happening with just one company called Dala. Okay, just one company, 200,000 wallets. And that's just in South Africa, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. And what are they focusing on? Micropayments. Their average transaction size is 27 cents. Now, I know many of you here are probably in the US and you're thinking, what? You got to be kidding. Well, I happen to have a couple relatives. One specifically has been traveling around quite a bit through Africa. And he's relayed to me that the cost of cups of coffee are like 20 cents for a big, huge cup of coffee there. There are other products that cost 10 cents, 5 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents, 50 cents. And this is the ideal area for something that doesn't utilize blockchain. Okay? That's a digital currency that requires fractions of a second for transaction. So these are natural companies that are trying to work into these unbanked areas. Obviously, Cloudcoin itself, natural natural currency to operate in these unbanked areas. So that's another example RADA company can operate in. Here's another area. Private currencies? Yes. The growth of private currencies has been unbelievable. These are companies, large scale firms, large scale groups that are operating with their own currency. It's not unlike a barter currency, by the way. It's not unlike barter dollars. In fact, the first private currencies that were developed happened back in the mid 1980s. All right. So, as you can see, this is another area where a digital technology that focuses on anti counterfeiting is a big, big deal. And if you think about it, think about what's been occurring with Facebook. Think about what's happening with Google, who today had to admit that their feature that tracks your location is still on even when you pick in your profile on Google that you don't want any location history being tracked. Okay? So they have that on their Google profile. Like when you set up your Google, if you're on Google, you can quote unquote disable your location history. Well, the truth is yeah, well, maybe you think you disabled it, but Google still keeps the data. And they had to admit that today, just happened after one of the major news outlets blew the whistle on them. I think that was the last couple of days. Now, why am I mentioning this? Because there are many, many people who are very, very uncomfortable about having their personal information gathered together in databases and sold and accessible, because it's not just about having your personal data sold to other commercial outfits. It's also, if you have some concerns about government surveillance, you have to understand that there are things that are called national security letters, and this is something that's in the Patriot Act if you want to look it up. A national security letter, tens of thousands of these are issued every single year. And a national security letter is effectively a letter that can be sent to anyone demanding access to information without the need for a search warrant. So this national security letter can be sent to you. It could demand information from you. It doesn't require a search warrant. And within the national security letter, it has a non-disclosure clause. If you receive one of these national security letters, you cannot disclose it to anyone, including your attorney. Now, everybody's probably going, no, can't be. Look it up. National security letter. So, one of the targets of these national security letters are companies like Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I could go on LinkedIn. I could go on and on and on. Now, those companies are storehouses of your information. Okay? They have your information. Google has, if you have a Google account, if you have a Google Gmail account, they have every location you're located, particularly if you have a smartphone that uses Android. Guess what? You're totally tracked. So there's a lot, and this information is coming out more and more. So more and more, I mention this because more and more people are becoming uncomfortable with digital currencies, more specifically blockchain currencies that require the collection of transactional data. Okay? There are a lot of people that don't like the fact that here's this Bitcoin that tells if you have a Bitcoin account and you're buying stuff with it, all your information's in there. So if you don't think that there are companies out there, some serious software companies that aren't targeting and mining Bitcoin information, you're whistling past a graveyard. You understand? So all of that information sitting and connected with Bitcoin, that data is being collected right now. And if it's then stored even by a private company, it is later accessible by governmental entities in the United States that are using national security letters. So this is getting people very concerned. So that's why many of these companies are now looking at other solutions that can give them that security for any type of digital valuable, whether it's a memorabilia like Celebrium, whether it's a barter dollar, whether it's a private currency, whether it's other currencies. So this whole area of anti-counterfeiting, focusing on all these different types of digital outlets or digital currency outlets, this is the focus of RADA. And by the way, the company is called RADA Tech, T-E-C-H, RADA Tech. So that's the focus of the NewCo. And our whole feeling is the more RADA Tech licenses and deploys and uses the RADA technology, it will also increase the footprint and the acceptability of Cloudcoin. So you have now a dual strategy of how to get distribution of Cloudcoin out there. Okay? The more usages of RADA out there, the more platforms potentially Cloudcoin could sit on top of. Okay? And once again, if you think about what's happening with Bitshares, Bitshares is an exchange where many different currencies right now are traded. And once we have this, the cloud coins running like a top on the Bitshares platform, you can only imagine that now the technology is working and operational, the RADA technology on Bitshares. All of a sudden, it opens up many different opportunities for example, for these barter companies to have their if let's say the RADA technology is operating with a big barter company, well, heck, now you have a situation where maybe those barter dollars not only can be exchanged within a barter network, but can go outside of the barter network and then be traded on Bitshares and exchanged for other currencies. So this is where we're kind of going with RADA Tech. As you can probably see how it's parallel with Cloudcoin, okay? You can see where it's also parallel to Bitshares. So that's the flow. So we love blockchain because it's the first thing out there that really got things rolling. It keeps on rolling bigger and bigger and bigger. It's getting billions of dollars coming in on it in investment. But the really good thing is there's better technology out there. And it's just a matter of time that people start converting over to simpler and simpler technologies involving digital currencies that aren't so intrusive, that allow for quicker transaction speed, that don't require the Grand Coulee Dam to power up a mining operation. They're generating new Bitcoins and handling the transactions. Because frankly, folks, I mean, all due respect to Bitcoin, but right now there may be 26 million people using Bitcoin who have bought it at some point. We got 7 billion people on Earth. Even if we got to 2.2 billion people utilizing or having some access to Bitcoin, that means, if I can run my math quickly enough here, that means the amount of energy needs would be 100x. If all of a sudden 2.2 million people were using or acquiring, using, transacting with Bitcoin, the amount of energy consumption alone for the transactions would be 100 times the current use. I mean, I guess if you're an energy company or you're into, I don't know, if you're an oil company, you're probably pretty happy about that potential. I just don't think it's sustainable long term. And there's an awful lot of people who agree with me on that. So once again, if you're taking a look at this whole digital world, I call it kind of the cryptocurrency world, digital currency world. I think ultimately it's going to be known as the digital currency world because these lighter, faster, quicker, less intrusive technologies, I believe, will be the big winners down the line. If not, they're already making big inroads in this whole currency space. So once again, that kind of gives you some news on what's happening today, what's happening with Cloudcoin and Bitshares, what's happening with the Rada Tech Nuco. Once again, if you want to be able to get the information I will be sending out next week on it, for more information on Rada Tech, you email me at bob@digitalcurrencygrowth.com. If you have already emailed me for last week's talk with Sean, you don't need to do it again. So don't email me again saying, hey, did you get my email last week? I'm sure I did. Okay. But for those people who have yet to email me, if they want the information that should be coming out late next week, I'll be happy to get it out. All right. So with that said, we have a very, very, here we go. I just got to go. Go to random.org, which for folks in here. Okay. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, number 48. So whoever came in and joined us, the 48th person, will get 5,000 cloud coins. Now, I hope to next week potentially what we've been discussing, but I want to thank you again for joining in on our live webinar. Now, listen, make sure you invite some other people. You can invite other people to our webinars simply by sending the link that I send you that you register for. You can just turn around and send that email out to other people too. So if you have friends who want to learn more about this whole crypto space, make sure you do that. Send it out to other people, get a bigger crowd in here, have even more fun. Thanks a lot for